WCBS News Time, 4:42 on Drive Time. Donald Trump's former fixer Michael Cohen was on the stand today at Trump's hush money trial, explaining how his former boss approved payouts to squash negative stories about him. They've just wrapped up for the day. Cohen will be back on the stand again tomorrow. Joining us on Drive Time is former New York federal prosecutor Neama Rahmani. Once again, joining us with some of his perspective. Thanks again so much for joining us, Neama. What did you make of Cohen's testimony today overall?
Well, Michael, today is what we've all been waiting for. He's the prosecution's star witness. But really, softballs today. The direct examination will continue tomorrow. There were some key insights. He was more calm and confident than I expected him to be in his public appearances in the past. But the question is, will that persona continue when he's subject to a very aggressive cross, which may start as early as tomorrow?
Yeah, what do you expect in that cross-examination? That could get a little testy, right?
Oh, very. I mean, we know that he's a convicted felon. He's an admitted liar. And yeah, I think the prosecution did a good job today getting out some of the bad facts that, Cohen was upset that he wasn't Trump's chief of staff or even considered for it. And the fact that he was Trump's personal lawyer after he was elected, because we know the defense is going to argue that $420,000 that was legitimately for legal expenses and not reimbursement for the Stormy Daniels hush money payment.
Could the defense's case come down to this, its cross-examination of Cohen and attacking his credibility?
I do believe so. And that's why I think the prosecution is happy that today they got in that recording again where Donald Trump is talking about Karen McDougal, obviously not Stormy Daniels, but paying $150,000 or $150,000. I think the prosecution knows that Cohen will be impeached, and they're trying to do everything they can to corroborate his testimony with independent evidence, like that one recording and some of the call logs that came into evidence today.
Right. The actual charges against Trump are falsifying business records. How do you think the prosecution has done so far with Cohen and the other witnesses so far to prove that point?
I think the prosecution has done a good job. I think it's clear that, at least to most jurors, I believe that the business records were false. The question is, though, were they in furtherance of another crime? Because obviously in New York, it has to be false business records, have to be a cover-up or to further another crime for them to be felonies. I'm not quite sure we're there yet, although there was some good testimony from Cohen today that Trump only cared about the election. He didn't do anything to protect himself or Melania from embarrassment.
Anything, Neama, that prosecution has done so far or hasn't done yet that you would or would have not done, or do you think overall that it's been pretty solid?
I mean, the one thing I would not have done is get those sordid details out about the actual sexual affair. I mean, I think Judge Juan Merchan did deny that mistrial motion, but now you have this potential issue on appeal. It really wasn't necessary to talk about sexual positions and use of a condom and him and Melania sleeping in separate rooms. Pretty scandalous stuff, really dirtied up the former president, but really not necessary for the facts and law in this case. Really all that matters is, were the business records false? Were they reimbursement for hush money payments, or were they actual legal expenses? The details of the affair don't matter as much.
Why do you think the prosecution did go and map all that out, all the details?
Yeah, I think part of it was Stormy Daniels was a bit of an uncontrollable witness. She was all over the place. She was offering things that weren't necessarily relevant. And I think, frankly, the defense did a very poor job. They should have been objecting early and often. And by the time those objections came in, it was too late. And the jury and the American people had heard all those details.
So Cohen returns to the stand tomorrow. Meantime, Neama, right across the street from the Trump trial is Senator Bob Menendez's corruption trial, which began today with jury selection. How do you stack up the prosecution's case against him?
I think it's a very strong case. Normally, that would be the trial of the year, but between Donald Trump and Hunter Biden, it's running a distant third. But look, strong case. We know that Senator Menendez has beat corruption charges before, so never count him out. But when you have gold bars and hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash in your closet, that's very tough to defend. And they also have a cooperating witness, co-defendant Jose Uribe has pleaded guilty, decided to testify. He's, of course, the person who bought that luxury Mercedes for Menendez's wife, Nadine. So going to be a tough case to defend. I expect the senator to point the finger at his wife. Her trial has been severed because of a conflict and some health issues, but going to be a tough case for the senator to defend.
Yeah, what do you make of those reports, Neama, that Menendez might try to pin all this on his wife?
I think so. I mean, you could tell by the defense motion, she was more connected with some of these individuals in Egypt and Qatar. And, oftentimes in criminal cases, the defense is it wasn't me or I didn't know. And I think in this case, that's what the senator is going to say. He's going to try to distance himself from all this. But again, when you have the money in your jacket pocket, your fingerprint on those gold bars, it's going to be tough to make that argument. But I think the senator is going to point to the empty chair, and that empty chair happens to be his wife, Nadine.
Former New York federal prosecutor Neama Rahmani, always great to get your insight. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Mike.
All right, we'll talk to you soon. 4:48 at WCBS on Drive Time.